Welcome to All Things Social Security. Enjoy your video. Good morning. Happy Sunday. It's Sunday Social Security Roundup wow, the week of the 2nd to the 7th. Okay, so we're trucking along here in February. So let me go back and get you all caught up on what we had in videos. So if you missed anything that might have been something you're interested in, you know where to look for it. On Monday, February 2nd, Groundhog Day. Sorry, I grew up with Groundhog Day. We were kind of like country like that. All right. This was like a little bit of a reminder if you're thinking of taking early retirement or otherwise not having your work provided health insurance, if you have it, if you're so lucky to have it, when you stop working, if you're not going to have it anymore, you really need to plan that into your expenses because remember, Medicare doesn't start until 65. So we talk about that a little bit. It was someone asking about it. So that's how we kind of dived into it. But age 62, you got to give a lot of thought as to whether you're going to hop on early retirement, even if you're going to file for disability or not, or keep working, or hop on early retirement and keep working part-time. But then your health insurance benefits might go away, but you might have money to buy your own, get you through to 65. Everyone's case is different. Everyone's life situation and financial wherewithal is different. So remember, 65 is the age for Medicare based on age. You do not have to wait to full retirement age. So know that you don't have to be 67, but you're not going to get it at 62, even if you do take early retirement. Okay, February 3rd, this would be Tuesday. This was just a little share because the federal government shut down again very briefly this time. Don't have to get into the politics of that, but it did pop back open again. But when this came out, it was still closed. And it was just a reminder, guys, when you see the concerns about, government shutdown, while it's not a good thing overall, although sometimes it's better than just slapping a Band-Aid. So sometimes it might be a painful, necessary thing to get certain people to shape up. It doesn't hurt you as a beneficiary, by and large, for SSI or SSD or Social Security retirement, survivors, dependent benefits. Your payments will still be coming. And your cases will still be adjudicated if you are a claimant. So it is one of the silver linings of the Social Security Administration and the programs within. I know everyone's always being an Emin, including me, about some of the inefficiencies, but this is definitely something to count our blessings about. Intensely so. Okay. February 4th. With a little tip. And it was someone that was discussing this with online at the live streams that come out Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. When you're under 50 and you have things like migraines, spondylosis, PFS, IBS, and bad knees, what's your case looking like? That will all depend, but here are some things we touch on. On February 5th, so that would be what? Thursday? Of course, YouTube was prompt in processing the live stream that was Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come ask your questions anytime you want. And this is the replay that we do after we strip out all those long pauses of scrolling and reading through a question just to get to the question, the answer, the boom, 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 the conversation. Okay, so that was Thursday that the replay version was made available. Friday was fraud law review. And this is about an illegal alien. I forget where he was from. I forget. But he'd been stealing from a Minnesota man for, it says 6 years, but I believe it was 16 years in various ways. Maybe it was just 6 that he was stealing from his Social Security credited stuff with the SSA, perhaps. And if I recall, I believe they caught him through the IRS, something with the IRS, but very interesting. Oh, I know. The Minnesota man got the tax bill. Yeah, that's fun. Just kidding. And then Saturday, the 7th. This was a video that I shared unlisted because it was like before, I think it was Thursday. It was before, or maybe it was maybe it was Friday. Someone had asked about this in one of the comments underneath one of the videos. So I thought it might be a decent share for everyone to see via video, since most people don't necessarily go read everybody's posts. So I put in a video to put it out there. That person got it right away as unlisted, and anyone who happened to read the thread under one of the videos, I think it was under the remand video, which there's several of those, so good luck with that. But so I shared it to him or her, I think it was her, as unlisted, because otherwise it goes public and I only want one to come out a day. It's already too much. Nobody needs to see my mug like that much. And then we got it up for the members who get it at any time after. And then the next Q day of the daily recordings that came out. So that was Saturday. And it was about when a doctor tells you that we got no more new treatments for you. Just gonna have to keep doing what we're doing. It's just kind of like status quo, and what you should not do if you're a claimant when you hear that. So, anywho, that was I hope you guys are having a great weekend. Hope it's warm and cozy and dry. We got a little snow coming down. My week was pretty good. It's been a little, I always say this, right? It's been crazy. Yeah. I seem to get these like bouts of hearing time and then like a little lull. And that's when you're like doing all the other stuff full blown. So that when you have the hearings, you've got all that stuff all done. So it's been busy as usual, but it's been good. It's still very cold here. We still have 2 feet of snow outside. I don't know if we're getting more. Besides like the little flurry that seems to be now. I don't know. I'll have to look at the weather forecast. I'm really bad with that. Okay. Stay warm. Stay safe. God bless you all. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye, guys. It's still Sunday. Did you miss last week's Social Security roundup? Not this week that you just heard, but the one prior to that, and want to catch up? I'm attaching it now. Have a great day. Bye. Good morning. Happy Sunday. We are here for our weekly Sunday Social Security roundup, which just shows what videos we had last week that might be of interest in the Social Security world that you may be currently swimming in along with us. Okay, so I hope everyone had a great last week and a great weekend, and I wish you a very peaceful and meaningful Sunday. So let's get to it. This was from the 26th to, that would be Monday, to Saturday, January 31st. On the 26th, which was, of course, Monday, we had something about, it was kind of a complicated thing. It was a complicated fact pattern involving a person with workers' comp, state pension maybe, and Social Security disability, and how potential offsets could happen, and which part I could touch on and which part I really couldn't touch on. It was kind of interesting, and it was also about the age of retirement and whether the SSD, whether there would be an offset or it would switch, would SSD switch. And I tried to explain the SSD would just keep going right up to retirement, even though workers' comp may have different rules. So it was kind of complicated considering I don't do workers' comp. Complicated for me, not for a workers' comp attorney. So anyway, it was just a little help for someone who was referred to me for that help by a colleague. So I just put out what limited stuff I could. On Tuesday, the 27th, the question was, can a claimant postpone an ALJ hearing? And it wasn't, it was a question by a person. And we kind of go over that a little bit about when you might be able to, how you should do it, all that kind of stuff. And there is a couple extra cues tacked on that talk about other things. So it's a little bit of a twofer, I suppose. On, I guess it was the 28th is Wednesday. This one was about absenteeism and things you can do to perhaps point it out, get it in the record, and whether an ALJ has a duty to address your concerns about your perhaps poor absenteeism likelihood. On Thursday, the 29th, we had the replay of the live stream from Wednesday, the day before. So on Wednesdays, we have our 12 p.m. regular recorded video that comes out at noon. And then at 1 o'clock p.m., we have the live stream Q&A. However, this day I had a hearing. Yeah, this Wednesday, the 20th, I had a hearing. And for some reason, I've activated my availability always for a few years now to exclude. Well, that part I just started excluding recently, but so that's probably why I was in it. And they scheduled me during my hearing, during the live stream. So I had to kind of do the live stream a little bit early and cut out a little early so I could then keep to my schedule of calling my client a half hour in advance and just making sure he could hook up and everything. So the hearing went very well. I believe we did meet a listing, and it was overt at the hearing because the judge had a medical expert there, and he literally said what listing he believes the person met. Personally, he only mentioned one, and I didn't really want to rock the boat, but there's others that would be equally viable. It won't matter in the end so much, not in this case anyway. So the hearing ended up exactly where we wanted it. The next day, the 31st. Oh, yeah, sorry. So on Friday, I didn't have my Friday fraud law review. I'm very sorry, and I apologize to my veterans out there because it is also my Red Friday. Warm wishes to them. But I did have a conversation with a veteran in the bank that I had to go to. My schedule got a little wonky, mostly because of the snow, where we were snowed in, remember, on last Sunday? And so we were just kind of digging ourselves out, and I didn't get everything done I needed to do. So I had to go out. And so we didn't do that one, but we will next Friday. So the next actual video was Saturday the 1st. And this was about, and it was a question that someone had, I think it wasn't a video. So remember, you can always post a question in any other 12 noon video, even the replay video. I will see it. I might not see it the same day, but I will see it. And if it's something I could do a video for, I will do that. And I'll probably let you know I'm going to do that. I might let you know I'm going to do that. I might just leave you hanging until I get it done, because if I answer and say I'm going to get done, it disappears off of my list of these are the ones that haven't been responded to. And that's where it's best for me to leave the ones I'm going to do a video on. So then when I get the video done, I post the link. I usually do it. I leave it unlisted just for that person and whoever happens to be reading in there. And I get it scheduled for a later date, in which case it becomes public. I think it actually goes to members first while it's waiting to go public. But I just give the unlisted view for the person who asked it maybe a day or two. I figure they'll get notice. If they're interested, they're going to come back and see their video. All right. So then, yeah, Saturday, yesterday. And that was about the discovery process in SSD and SSI cases. It was a pretty cool question because we don't often see that word in this field, even though there is definitely discovery. But I used to do state court litigation, and discovery was everything. So it was just kind of interesting to see that word. So I tried to explain the very big differences. The discovery process in SSD versus SSD and SSI are the same, but they're very different from any of your state court arenas that you're probably used to, what you see on TV, all that. None of that applies in the same way here. Thank goodness, or else nobody would be able to afford to litigate their SSD case. It would be unaffordable for disabled people, except for the extremely wealthy. All right, so that's it, kids. That was our week. Hope to see you guys next week. See you next Wednesday. I'm gonna have to take a look at any hearings coming up to see if, because it's true that because we do them 5 months in advance, I only started carving out the Wednesdays 1 to 3 for the live streams from my availability for the ALJ hearings. Maybe it was just a few months ago, so I'll have to cut them a break. But obviously I showed up because you can't exactly say no. All right, guys, have a great week. Be safe, stay warm. Curious to see if anybody got a lot of snow. I know some of my southern friends got such terrific cold and ice and loss of power, and I'm hoping and praying that everybody's got their power back on, because I think that could really wipe out morale really fast if you're cold, if you're in the dark, and if you can't afford to like split and go to a hotel, or maybe you have a bunch of critters. I don't know. Maybe you have to just live in your car where you can like keep filling up the tank and running the heat. I don't know, but kind of gives me incentive to make sure our generator works. All right. Stay safe, guys. God bless.